War, a podcast documenting the brood of writers, where art, theology, philosophy, and fun back in your ears. Today on the program, we begin with a briefing on the chaotic life of a modern bard, followed by some rather illicit and hilarious misunderstandings involving sandwiches, street corners, and accidental drug deals thwarted by homeschoolers.
God of song, said the warrior bard, though all the world betray thee, one sword at least thy right shall guard, one faithful harp shall praise thee.
I can't hear you, so if you're talking, figure it out. There it is. There it is. All right. What's up, man?
Hello. Nothing much. Yeah, my computer was being weird again.
I gotcha. Well, let me answer Carrie's question, because he asked one right before he came in. Basically, I do audiobooks, both ones that I audition for and ones that I get contracted for from repeat customers and stuff like that. I work at my church 20 hours a week. They cap me at that because that's what they can afford. I do IT for them of all sorts. I speak to the machines, basically. Anything that they need as far as technology stuff and engineering and whatever else I can do. And then I also sell stuff on eBay. I don't have enough space in this house to do that more or scale it, because I would start needing not necessarily even warehouse space yet, but just another room, and I don't have that. I can realistically put up about 50 items at a time. Otherwise it gets to, where did I put that again? You know.
What do you sell?
All kinds of stuff. I have some leftover stuff from my dad's CD collection that I'm still selling off. I have VHS. I have a lot of different media stuff. I have books. I sell some old toys. You know, if kids have a toy that they're done with or grow out of, I'll sell it. You know, basically knickknacks from around the house. And I want to get into doing more repair of old e-waste PCs, to where I actually will repair them into working order and sell them. But I haven't had enough time or room to really do a whole lot of that. I need more of a workbench kind of situation to really do that efficiently. So I do a lot of different things. Outside of that, I recently was paid to do a speaking engagement on technological stewardship. I've been hired to do other various kind of technological handyman projects. People move and they call me to set up their stereo and stuff. Random odd jobs like video editing, audio editing, you know, whatever it is. And so I do a whole bunch of different stuff, and I'm building my own business with my own stories, and reading those, the poems and stuff that I've read on Broadcast and whatnot. To, build that up over time as a side hobby, in order to I really want to build for my kids to have a whole bunch of stories that they can have themselves and build onto and, promote and create, and have just a little something to start moving into a family business for, so. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep. So that's what I do. I'm a guy who's always looking for opportunities, who's basically, I really am a bard. I'm in media, I'm in storytelling, I'm in talks, in story and song, and all of the above, right? Technology, all the rest. So, yeah.
Dang, that's pretty cool.
I guess it's been, I've enjoyed it. That's for sure. It's one of those things where I don't think that I would be in this if it wasn't abundantly clear God was doing it that way. COVID happened, and I was let go from. So the guys that I'm currently contracted with for this book that I was talking about doing, they had me full time, and they had to cut back. They tried for a long time to be able to keep me on, and they just couldn't. And then following that, I started doing freelance for them and freelance everywhere I could, and basically just scrambled. That was right around, the end of 2020, and I have worked other part-time jobs since then. But everybody that I've tried to work for in town is a non-mercy ministry sort of a thing that wants me to work on Sundays. And I'm like, sorry,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not.
no.
I'm a Sabbatarian. I don't do that, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I had 2 part-time jobs. I worked for basically what was a Southeastern Equipment Company. It was a basically a guy who had a whole big junkyard, and he bought and sold military surplus stuff.
Oh,
He
okay.
bought large stuff at auction and then whatnot. I worked for him doing like the miscellaneous items and getting them onto their eBay store. And then and then I worked for a place called Fairy Tale Dreams for a little while, which was sort of a moms can come with their little kids, and there's a little wooden playground inside a strip center, and they do parties at the location and have a dance floor and like princess costumes and things like that. And I basically just opened and closed for private parties, as well as occasionally they would have open hours, and I would just watch the place basically. That was a situation where she kept wanting me to do Sundays and other stuff. She wasn't happy with my level of detail on cleaning, which I can't necessarily blame her. I'm not the best at cleaning, but that basically just fizzled out, over time. So, but like I've looked and I've tried to find places, and it's just continued to become abundantly clear like I'm supposed to be doing this. I'm supposed to be reading the books, and I'm supposed to be finding the books to read. I'm supposed to be building that business alongside, the other businesses and helping the church. My wife is a caretaker, both by nature and slightly by profession. She did some professional caretaking, kind of like what Daniel does before. Daniel and Aaron. And right now we're living in the backyard cottage of a 90-year-old person from our congregation who they just her son just out of the blue basically said, hey, you want to come here and take care of her, my children, her grandchildren, basically just up and moved out. And they're still in town, but they really wanted someone on the property to help take care of things. And so that has become further and further, a lot more care on Casey's part. And she loves her like Ruth loves Naomi, and is just fulfilled in that part of her calling. You know what I mean? Like really making sure that she's taken care of. She has hearing loss, and Casey's one of the only people that she can hear clearly. just kind of shows you what we're dealing with as far as just providence, and everything. Just trying to walk in that as best as we can. So,
All right. Well,
yeah.
I hate to cut you off, but I gotta go. I gotta take care of dogs and go to the hospital. So
absolutely, go do it, and God
all
be with
you. You as well. All right.
you. See you, man. So what's going on, Daniel?
Oh, nothing much. Just being super, super, super busy. I'm working 2 jobs, and yeah.
Hey there, Michael.
What's up, guys? Just got a couple minutes.
Back on tonight too, huh?
Yeah, well, normally I have D&D, but for unfortunate reasons, don't have it tonight.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, the stuff you said in the Brood kind of thing.
Yep. So
I gotcha.
Jake was going to DM tonight, but he's having problems.
I hear you. So, yeah, what's going on with you, Daniel?
Oh, just being super busy with work and whatnot. Working at the school by day and evenings and into the night. I've been working as a direct support professional in a group home setting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a group home. Who lives in a group home?
Like adults with special needs.
Okay, and what's a direct support person? What do they do?
Bathing, cleaning, meds, eating,
Gotcha.
like things that they just couldn't do on their own.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of notes, a lot of work, but hey, it's doing a lot better. I get, with the pay period. So I'll get paid the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th week of October from job 1, and then the new job is actually going to get me covered on the 2nd and the 4th one. So I'm getting paid every single week, and that's going to carry on and throughout the rest of the year, which is going to be very nice. Very nice.
That's
Indeed.
Cool. That's cool.
But I will be very busy. Very, very busy. I'm already looking forward to Christmas. I just want to be at the end of the line already. Okay.
Well, if all goes well, you should be able to buy some gifts for folks too. That should be fun.
Yeah. I mean, if all goes well, for sure. For sure. I mean, heck, even just being able to be physically present, because being poor kind of takes you away from people. It's very much like a prison in a lot of ways, and it sucks. But, oh, goodness.
I hear you. Yeah, I'm finishing a book. Gonna finish the recording tonight. Have about 6 pages left to read, and then I have about 5.5 hours of timeline to do. Not gonna finish that tonight, but I'm hoping to finish by 2:00 tomorrow. Because we've got around that time pregnancy appointment for Casey, so that'll be her second one. Hopefully we'll get some information at that one on the state of her insides, because they were super messed up from the previous 2 pregnancies. So we'll see what's up on that. Well, with the first one, they said they fixed it all in the second one. We're not 100% sure we trust them, so we're figuring out the details. So, yep. So we're figuring all that out. Prayers would be appreciated for that, just because we want everything to, go well, obviously.
Of course.
I've been generally working on trying to figure out. So, Michael, I don't know if you've seen this. I have a one of the things that I've been working on for a couple months now. You're familiar with vibe coding?
A little bit.
So I have this thing, I put it in the chat. It's a sort of a. Are you familiar with Trello?
I know the word.
Okay, Trello is like a project management sort of a thing. I basically built my own project management suite for my own stuff, like specifically. And it doesn't auto save or do anything like really. You have to manually save. You have to do, some very basic things, but like, I'm really, really happy with how it works. And it's like tailor-made to my specific needs. Cool. It has an extremely robust randomizing dice setup, where essentially I can have the idea that I have is like, basically let's say I have 3 options that I'm rolling for. And when I you can assign that to a 6-sided dice. Like the first 2 are the first 1 and 2 are for the first item. 1 and 2 are 3 and 4 for the second item. 5 and 6 for the third item. That sort of a thing, right? Well, basically, I can create a situation where every time I roll for the first option A, and that after I roll for option A, the next time 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going to be option A, and then 5, 6 B is option B, and et cetera, right? And so basically it waits over time, and then I can set the reset point to where it will reset back to the initial like 1 and 2 after I hit a certain amount. So the whole point of doing that is so that I can keep momentum on projects instead of having it purely random every time. Right?
That's cool. That's really neat.
Yeah. So
That sounds intriguing.
Yeah. So, and I have all kinds of various functions with that. That's in the rollers section of this whole thing. If you end up looking at it, I don't know if you're on a computer or phone or whatnot, but I call them rollers, but or dice rollers. But it's a pretty simple system. The other two major systems are the Kanban board, which is a standard Kanban board. It's basically like post-it notes that you put in columns. You've seen that sort of thing with Trello. And then the other one is the cube writers. Cube writers basically function as, think of it like folders, but every single folder you can write on. So every single cube is both a folder and a notepad, basically, right? And so I can essentially create these, and I can create an export. When you hit export on the cubes, basically it exports everything under where you're currently at into a single text file. So I can have, and it separates them all out as cubes, in their proper order and stuff like that. And so basically for my poetry, they're perfect. Because each individual poem, then each individual episode, each individual season, right? And so I can export all the way down to a single episode or a single poem, all the way back out to whole seasons and whole series, right?
Yeah.
In a one fell swoop. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, that sounds really neat, and coding it up yourself sounds like a good exercise too. So
yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah. So I used Gemini to help me with that. I already know HTML decently well. I've been learning Java through reverse engineering because sometimes it doesn't fix it the way I want it fixed. I end up learning JavaScript and CSS. So it's been good to reverse engineering learning,
Perfect.
Yep.
As long as it's learning.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So what other projects or things you got going on lately, Michael? You've got the trip coming up, right? How far out is that now?
It's tomorrow. I leave tomorrow.
Sweet. That'll be fun.
Yes.
How long's the trip?
Just for the weekend. I'll be back on Monday.
How far is it?
Just like 2.5 hours away. So.
No, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. So.
Not bad at all. I wish I could get 2.5 hours away more often. Oh boy!
You just gotta bring all those other people with you. It's fine.
Well, it's not even that. It's just I like bringing them. It's more the car at this point. I don't want to risk the car, but that'll get better soon. Have you ever heard of Helen, Georgia?
Yes, I have a friend of mine who is from there, and
okay.
For the first several times I referred to it, I heard it as Hell in Georgia.
That's what I just heard. That is what I heard.
I was like, oh, is that where it's located? The impression it was
Helen, like the female name. Hello, Abby. What's up?
Hey.
Good to have you. So can you, Michael, describe Helen, Georgia to these people, or do you not know enough about it?
I know it has a dentist, and that she had a son who grew up and became a friend of mine.
So you don't know what it is, like how it's a different town.
The people talk about like there's something different about it, but I've never bothered to ask what specifically is different about it.
The architect, so it's a mountain town in Georgia, like in the Blue Ridge Smoky Mountain range, and it's extreme northeast Georgia, starting to get toward Tennessee. It is built like a Bohemian Alpine village, and I mean Bohemia as in like the region of Germany, right? And so basically they have a downtown that is famous for their Oktoberfest. They have a bunch of shops that are actually run by or at least they used to be. I don't know if they still are. Little old German grandmas, like actually German immigrant grandmas, running their little caramel shops and stuff.
Nice.
And it's a really fun location. They have a funny alpine mini golf course. One of the places that no longer exists, but I went to when I was a little kid, there was he was a actually German grandfatherly type who owned this giant warehouse that the front of the store was like Lego and Playmobil and like imagination toys. But the real thing was in the actual like warehouse portion, and you actually had to pay to get in there and go through. He built a absolutely gigantic model city throughout the whole thing that had basically he did the whole walls and ceiling in plaster that looked like giant mountains surrounding the thing, and there was a second level on the walls that you could go around and look down from the heights of the top of this warehouse on the entire model city, and there were planes that were hanging down off wires and stuff like that, and it's just this amazing thing that he built over the course of years and years of his life and added to.
That's crazy. There was something actually kind of similar to that in the town I grew up in, but in the front it was an old-fashioned candy store, and in the back they sold drugs. So a little bit of a different experience.
What do you guys have any funny stories about being offered drugs? I have two.
I actually have one.
You have one?
Aaron, bless his heart. I have one, but I can wait for a second.
Go ahead.
It is my. Just saying, go ahead. Yeah, Aaron. Well, me and my family, we were living up in Kansas City at the time. There was a short 6-month stint whenever my dad was. My older brother had arranged for my dad to take on a job as a lights salesman at a independent Christian company or whatnot. Made decent-ish money. We all lived out of an apartment at the time. And Aaron, he went to go take out the trash, and he just kind of lingered too long. And I was like, okay, it's time for me to go down and see where he's at. Not a big deal. It's just a big city, and we know Aaron has kind of... I don't think he would mind me saying he, has autism and all that. And so whenever he was younger, he needed a little bit more support, and just, big brother needed to come check on him. And so I went downstairs to go look at him, and he was talking to someone. So I get closer, and there was a man okay, so this starts going from funny to scary real quick. My bad. But I got wind of what was going on, and the guy was like speaking in code to Aaron, like Jerry needs 8 balls of green or something, is what he was saying. Something along those lines. It was very cryptic and weird and strange, but here Aaron is just thinking it's so funny because it's so absurd and it doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, Aaron, shut the damn door, and just yard him inside and lock the door behind us. Thankfully, there was a code between us and him. The guy didn't seem like he... it was very strange. Very strange. We had a good long talk with Aaron at the time. I was like, don't talk to strangers. But yeah, we laugh about it now. Because he'd beat me in chess, but then I'd keep him alive on the streets. So
I have had 2 very overt times, and both of them were at Wendy's. The second one pretty much comes down to the fact that it was at Wendy's being funny. The other one is more funny because of the specific Wendy's, and specifically like what the guy said and how it went down. So I'll tell that one.
Please tell me you said, sir, this is a Wendy's.
I wish that wasn't a thing back then. This was like 2007 or something like that. That wasn't a joke yet. I wish it was, but basically this Wendy's was kind of, how usually Wendy's is, they used to be kind of just random places along the highway, but then they started building them as part of like shopping centers, right? Like they build them next to a shopping center sort of a thing, more often than not. Well, this one was in a Publix parking lot. And Publix is generally a higher end sort of grocery store in the Southeast. And so this one wasn't one of the ghetto Wendy's. It wasn't ghetto at all. There's some of the people who work there, of course, still going to be ghetto. There's still issues, whatever. But like, the area is nice. That's what I'm trying to say. Behind the Publix, further down the side road, was the largest Christian school in Atlanta, in Georgia, I think, actually. The Atlanta area. And it was started by John Smoltz of the Atlanta Braves. So like it was a, big money, sort of big Eva Christian school sort of a situation. And this is like Christian school central. And at the height of kids getting out of school and the traffic starting up, I go to Wendy's and park because my mom had sent me to pick up food for dinner, whatever. So I park and I'm about to go in and order because she wants me to like double check stuff and do all the things moms want you to do and blah, blah, blah. And so basically this guy comes up, very obviously like kind of weird, and he's just carrying a Wendy's bag around that very obviously is very full and doesn't contain any kind of food or anything. Like the shape is weird, the way it's kind of bulged and stuff. It doesn't look like it's packed with food at all. And he's like walking around and he goes, hey man, hey. I'm like, he's just trying to just walk forward. He's like, hey. I'm like, what? He says, I got some food. You want some food? I got some real good food. He's like, you want some real good food? I'm like, no, I'm just going to go in and order, but I got the real good food. I can get you some real good food. I'm like, no, I'm fine.
I'm big.
And he is legitimately like a 40-year-old skinny black man. And he's just like, and he's not like a crackhead type. He doesn't seem like that. He seems like the kind of guy who's going to go play basketball tomorrow morning. You know what I mean? Like, with his buddies of the same age, right? He's just like this Gen X 90s sort of guy, whatever. And it was just
it's to preserve you like a smoked red pack until you get off it.
Oh boy! What I would have wanted to do in that situation, if it was current, I'd be like, "Ooh, you got the $5 footlong? You got a McRib? What you got?" Like just see what he says, right? Like,
and he turns out to be an undercover cop, and it's like, get on the ground.
I just wanted some Subway.
So,
oh my goodness!
When I was in college, there was a really cool, my favorite restaurant that's ever existed. It was a place called Fat Sam's. It was
nice.
a walking distance from the engineering building, and it was run by an angry Palestinian man named Sam who was fat. And
I love the truth in advertising.
So Sam was a big fan of local high school football. He had sponsored the team for like multiple years in a row, and so he had like pictures like by year for like one local high school and stuff. It was a sandwich shop primarily. He made these great hot sandwiches. He made amazing French fries. And unbeknownst to me, he also sold marijuana. And so I was at engineering building one day. I saw one of my classes eating a sandwich, and it's like, "Oh, is that from Fat Sam's?" He's like, "Yeah." And he asked me, "Do you get the Sam special?" And I said, "Well, no, I've never had that before." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, that's really good." So, and I was like, "Oh, there's no Sam special on the menu." So I go there. So I say, "So I've heard you have like this Sam special," and like he reaches below the counter and like gets out this like little bag of green stuff. And I'm like, "Oh, no, I thought it was a sandwich." He's like, "Well, I mean, I'll put it on the sandwich, like if you want." Like, no, I'm good. Just give me a roast beef, something or whatever it was. Okay.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Later, Sam had a heart attack from being too fat and died.
Oh man.
What? You can't do that to me. Oh.
Poor Sam.
No.
He even offered to put it on the sandwich.
Yeah, good food for it. Good food though, like amazing sandwiches.
Oh, I'm sure.
Wish I could go back there and he'd still be
he
there.
is absolutely genius in double dipping with the munchie maker, like for real. You know? Like, oh boy, that is really funny. That is really funny. Oh man, but I think the only reason living in the Atlanta area most of my life, like I wasn't offered drugs more, is because I was so homeschool presenting in every way, shape, or form. And they're like, yeah, there's only a certain kind of homeschooler who orders stuff from us. Oh boy.
Well, the funny thing was that there was a local pastor who had been like a major customer of the drug side of Sam's business for like years and years before his conversion, and he'd go back there sometimes for food. And Sam would, and I was there once, and Sam was like, "Hey Joe, it's like, are you still a?" And he says something like, trying to remember his exact words. It was like, "Are you still a tight ass about marijuana," or something like that? And Joe was like, "No." He's like, "No, are you still an atheist?" And Sam's like, "Yeah." It's like and they just have this dynamic where they're joking about it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so funny. Oh, yeah. That is great.
Yeah, I know that, and he would like every couple months he would say like, "I know I've told you this before, but you need to repent." And Sam would be like, "I don't want to do that," and they're like, "Okay, well, I tried."
Oh my goodness.
My the pastor who I was in his church the majority of my childhood, he baptized me, all that. One of his favorite things was to go to restaurants, and he would actually do apologetics and pray with like the waiters, the wait staff, and he would actually like do it once a month where his specific goal was to go and buy the most expensive things and tip extremely well, specifically for the fact of having a direct influence on these folks. And his favorite places to go were the African and the Chinese places, partly for the food and partly for the people, because they would always be polite and be like, "Okay, I'm actually going to listen to you." And he could tell that they would listen and at least parse what he was saying, regardless of whether they, appreciated it or not. Right. And so it was a real, like, tangible way that he could buy both a really good meal and some listening ears for an hour or so, I thought that was a cool way to deal with it, that a lot of people look down on that kind of a thing, be like, "Oh, servant relationship," right? No, not at all. Like he was he was paying for the experience that they were offering and working on their terms, and they were happy to oblige him and his politeness and what he wanted to bring to them. I just thought it was a good way to do it, and I was always touched by that. So
yeah, as a server,
I bet he probably still does it. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I've had a couple tables that were like that. And we get into those kind of conversations, and I was like, yeah, who would end up just going back and forth though, rather than like a whole apologetics thing, because I'm a Christian.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was so cool. Like, it was pretty cool.
Absolutely.
From the streets to the subconscious, our squad shifts gears to discuss how the harsh realities of life impact our fiction. Stand by for tales of banana peels, the tragedy of urban sprawl, and a fever dream involving a very confused principal and a sneezing elephant.
Can you guys share any kind of stories that directly affected your writing? Like, not necessarily like this was me reinterpreting the story of what exactly happened to me, but you could do that. But like something that, like any kind of observation that you had one day about the real world that made you be like, I gotta write that in the story. Anyone got anything like that? I can start if y'all want to think about it.
That is a great question. So, like, say, let me write that down. But how did you say that again?
Basically, have you ever had any kind of observations that directly influenced your story, but weren't just like you're writing down verbatim the thing that happened to you?
Yes. I see.
I have two stories that I combined to make a anecdote that I included in the backstory of a character once, which is a roundabout way of saying it, but I think when you hear the story, you'll understand. So when I was a kid, I was, you always see in cartoons and stuff people slipping on banana peels. And I, being the somewhat scientifically minded individual that I was like, is that really true? Does that actually happen? So I got a banana, and I ate the banana, and I have a peel. So I put the peel on the ground, on like the concrete, and I stepped on it. I didn't slip. It's like, well, that didn't work. So I tried taking a few steps and stepping on it. Still didn't slip. So then I got a running start and jumped on the banana with both feet, and it slipped out from under me, and I fell down, hit my head on the concrete, and went in crying to my mom. And she sort of looked at me. It was basically like, well, if you didn't do such stupid things, you wouldn't hurt yourself. And then the other incident was we had just moved to this new house and had a retaining wall with a basketball goal installed in the ground behind the retaining wall, so it came up and over there. And the arm of the basketball goal at one point on the wall was about like a foot or so above the wall. And I, being a child at the time, I started walking along the edge of the wall, and I came to the basketball goal. I have two choices. I can go over the arm or under the arm. And I was like, well, anybody could go over the arm. I think it's worse to try to go under it in this situation. So I tried to go under it, and instead of going under it, I fell off the wall and landed on the concrete. And I went inside crying to my mom. My mom said, well, it's a good thing you've got a nice hard head and not a watermelon. Which at the time I didn't feel was very sympathetic. So then in one of my stories, I combine those experiences where the character does the banana peel slip, and his mom says to him, well, it's a good thing you've got a nice hard head and not a watermelon. So.
Gotcha.
Oh, man.
That's good stuff. So, Daniel, what do you got? If you have one. If not, I'll say mine.
Just observations and stories from your life that played into your writing to encourage you to keep writing. Was that right?
No, I was thinking more along the lines of they directly affected your story. It's not that you're necessarily writing something verbatim, but the observation or the experience directly affected the actual narrative.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, goodness, sorry, my brain is still in like clinic mode.
That's okay. Let me do mine.
Yeah,
and then you can be thinking of yours. So I had an experience where I used to work at the exact Publix that I was talking about for 5 years, from like 16 years old onwards, and I had a experience where it was about 2.5 miles from my house. So there were a couple of times where I had to walk home because no one could come and get me in the amount of time that it took, and I didn't have my own car, that sort of a thing. And so occasionally I would walk home. And on one of these particular days when I walked home, one observation of just my surroundings hit me so hard that it directly influenced one of my stories pretty much the same day. I was working on writing my first Cyclone Jones story in the beginning of Guardians of Atlanta, and basically the observation that I saw was one, I'm actually crossing over the Fulton County to Forsyth County line at the time. So, for context, Fulton County is part of Atlanta, but it's an elongated county because back in the, I want to say 50s, Fulton County in Atlanta was dirt poor and needed to pay their taxes, and so they assimilated Milton County to the north. So I'm in the north part of the county going north to Forsyth County, where I lived. Forsyth is a county that historically has had a ton of racism. I mean, extreme, like, KKK centers there. But from the 70s on was basically just like horse country. Like, it was literally just equestrian people. And so then the Olympics hit and everything changed all over metro Atlanta area. I'm way up in Alpharetta at the time. Alpharetta is 45 minutes north of Atlanta, depending on traffic. So, like, it's not Atlanta proper even, but the sprawl was crazy from 1996. And walking home, I'm noticing about 5 different types of grass that are changing every time I go from one lot to the next. As I'm just walking along this highway, right? It's just a two lane highway. It's nothing crazy, but it is a major road. Highway 9 specifically, for anyone who cares. It's the parallel route to US 19. Which is a road that goes from the Great Lakes to the Gulf, right? So it's a major thoroughfare. So there are like 5 different types of grass, and one of them was native. And when I say native, it's not even native. That was the other thing. Like, it's a Hawaiian grass that they imported back in the 30s or something like that, but it's the grass I grew up with, right? And just noticing that kept changing, and that nobody cared when they built something to landscape it in such a way that it fits in the environment at all. Like, I don't care if your building's crazy. I don't care if, like, anything you're doing with your actual property there is fine. But when you specifically rip out all the grass that's already there and replant just, like, randomly, it really, really bothers me just on a moral level. You know what I mean? Like, just being kind to your neighbor. And so that experience brought about a whole poem, which is sort of the heart of the first episode of Guardians of Atlanta. Cirrus Jones is coming home from Athens, Georgia, to Alpharetta. She's coming home from University of Georgia, and she's seeing all the construction, all of the mess, all of the urban sprawl, and she's coming home to her family farm that was, you know, horses and peaches and other basic stuff. And they're one of the only farms left in their area, and everything's built up around them. And the line that specifically came to my mind was, and it's purposely evocative, whatever, but like, it's, and as she went home, she saw her whole world a-changin'. Every time she stepped out, new construction was ablazing. It was amazing. All the shops and malls and offices and streets. Man, they got gall, Cirrus thought every time her mind would drift. When the winds of progress would shift, they'd leave a bigger mess than ever before. The South been slowly dying since the Civil War. And so that was something that was directly affected by me just walking home and being like, they don't even care to leave the grass or plant the right grass. You know?
That's a good one.
It's a neat line. It's a neat line. I'm gonna have to hop off here, but
all right.
Seeing y'all.
Good seeing you too, man. See you later. What were you saying, Abby?
Oh, I just said that's a good line. I was agreeing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So did either of you come up with anything to share in that regard? Is like Daniel said, he liked the question.
I have a lot of them, but I'm having a hard time picking out a specific event. But my writing has been really impacted by day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm.
By what was that? I'm sorry.
By day-to-day life.
Ah,
And different like discoveries I've had along the way, but I can't pin one down.
gotcha.
One of my books is inspired by a dream.
Yeah?
I don't know if that really counts though.
Daniel, did I ever
think.
tell you my weirdest dream?
No, maybe not.
Y'all want to hear my weirdest, funniest dream? I'd love to hear
Sure.
Abby's too, the one that inspired your book, if you feel like sharing. But I'm throwing mine out there as just another thing too. What you got?
I had the two observations. I mean, not really, I guess, observations, more just like experiences that I find have kind of naturally flowed into my writing are the my grandmother, just in a lot how she interacted with us all as kids and into our adulthood, our young adulthood. She was always just kind of super, like, she wanted to hear the projects we were coming up with. She always inspired us to use our creativity, and it was very nourishing in that way. And just seeing her role quietly play out is a big part of why I am even trying to write The Maiden's Child. And then old buddy of mine or rather an old buddy of my older siblings, his name was Chris Roll. He passed away, and that rocked my world. He was like the first adult who was like, yeah, you got something here. You got, some writing ability. You should use that. You should do something with that. So those two, like, equal mixes of grief and just beauty kind of intermingled together, because you had these people and their light shines so bright, and then they're gone, but then like it's still kind of with you in a lot of ways. Like, it never, like, you never really forget the things those kinds of people. And yeah, like, that would probably be my biggest thing, is just those are art has always been a healing thing for me, and has always been a good way to just connect back with those memories and find those good things and bring them back out. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. What about your dream, Abby?
Oh, so it wasn't really much of a dream. What had happened in real life was we ordered a bunch of chickens from a hatchery. We ordered some heritage breed chickens. I got some really fancy ones that I really liked. I got a pair of them, and I wanted to name them. So I'm thinking over the next couple of days, what am I going to name my chicken? I want to give it a good name. And then my dream, I was going through the magazine of the hatchery that we ordered them from, and there was a feature page with my chicken on it, and it had a name on it. So then I was like, that's a cool name. And then I ended up using it for the title of a book. It was very different. I don't know.
Hello, friend. What's up, Aaron?
Hello.
Hello,
Not
brother.
much. What's up, Dan?
Abby was just talking about something. Her dream.
Her dream. All right.
It involved
Yeah,
chickens. It did not say prescient kick.
Okay.
I don't think Abby gets that one, because I don't think she was here for that. So
No, I'm sorry.
It's all good.
okay. Their book has talking chickens that are actually like spirit guides or something.
Actually, I did hear about that, but it was on a previous episode of the broadcast that I listened to.
Yes. Okay, so you did hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the one before last.
Yeah. So, my story of this one other dream. This is the weirdest dream I've ever had. It's not super super long, but it does take a minute to like tell properly. So bear with me. Feel free to interrupt, but bear with me. So
I'll take note. Stay engaged.
It's pure absurdity. Okay, there was a friend, sort of friend from when one of the churches that I grew up in. This is the church I went to when I was basically like 5 to 11, somewhere around that age. Anyway, there was a guy there named Jordan who was a kind of sort of friend. He was one of the guys, and so he and I were in high school, supposedly, and we were going on some long trip with the class in an airplane, some kind of long, whatever kind of trip. And when we were in the plane, I was looking up the aisle and I saw another friend of ours reach into someone else's bag and steal something out of it. And so I look at Jordan and I'm like, we've got to tell the principal. And so cut to us in front of a very tall and imposing Romanesque building, like a courthouse in whatever city we apparently went to. And it's storming and raining, and a choir of people dressed in surgical outfits with the masks and the hairnets and everything else are coming out, holding candles, walking slowly, singing, "Christmas is coming, Christmas is coming, whoa!" And I look at Jordan and I go, I hate that song. I'm sort of like the cool action dude with the one-liners and this whole thing. Anyway, so even though none of my one-liners are cool whatsoever. So we walk up the stairs and into these like giant doors. I'm talking like 40-foot high mega doors, like just old wooden, insane church type doors on this Romanesque building. And we walk in and we go into an office. The ceilings are like super high everywhere. It's like this, it's like what you would expect going into like a DC building, right? There's some red carpet, there's some marble there, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, we go into this principal's office. She's a sort of, overweight, has glasses, sort of blonde hair, is the kind of lady who'd call you honey in a southern accent, kind of a thing. She's the principal, apparently. She's sitting in her high back, red leather office chair, and looks absolutely terrified. She's doing like the Looney Tunes shake with the sound effects, like when the Looney Tunes are scared. It's like, kind of a thing. And you hear the thunder and lightning, and the choir's still singing as they're walking out. And I say, Madam Principal, are you nervous? And she does the Looney Tunes, where she like jumps up really fast, like in a couple of frames, and darts behind her chair and is like peeking out, all timid. And she like nods, and she's timid and worried. So keep in mind, all the interior doors are just as big as the exterior doors, just because it's got this huge high ceiling. Even in her office, this is the case. Her door, this giant interior door that we closed on the way in to tell her that our friend stole something in the airplane, this door starts getting pushed open to the point where it's creaking and bowing. This giant, massive 40-foot door. Okay? It's not opening, but it's kind of getting pushed in, right? And me and Jordan go and start pushing against it. It jumps the latch. It's a door that opens inward, so it jumps the latch, and it's being pushed open now without the bowing. It's just being pushed. Jordan's on the side where the door is being pushed in, and he peeks around to see what's going on the other side. He sees it and then puts his back to the door as hard as he can and pushes it closed again. It starts bowing again. And I'm like, what was it? And he goes, it's like an elephant, but different. Right at that moment, the door busts open, knocks us, rear end over tea kettle into her desk. and we're staring up at a giant 2D animated Looney Tunes style drawn, like Chuck Jones style drawn, brown elephant with a short trunk that's only to his chin, and he's waving his arms around like this, and he's on his hind legs, whatever, and he goes, "The elephants are coming and they're sneezing on all the planets." And that's when I wake up.
How much Benadryl did you take?
I think that was a pizza dream, but that was a long time ago. I just remember it so incredibly vividly, and it's so funny and ridiculous. Oh, I did forget one of my one-liners. I told the principal right before the door started being bowed open, "Don't worry, Madam Principal. If anything happens, I pack a pretty mean wacko." So, yeah.
That's a very Josh line right there.
Just pure wacky absurdity, and it's just, yeah. I love dreams like that, where it's just like nothing makes sense, and yet it all makes sense.
I need to be taking notes whenever you guys are talking.
Go ahead, Abby.
I usually have dreams where there's like orcs chasing me or something through the woods, and I'll like duck behind a tree to hide, and they'll start looking for me, and they'll come over and look like this. I'll be like, "No, you can't find me yet. Go that way."
I love that. No, you can't find me though. I love that. Don't get me started hilarious. On about orcs. I thought an orc was going to drag me out of my bedroll whenever we went up to Oklahoma to go see our friend Alex's wedding, and I kicked Aaron a couple of times until Josh had to come in like Tom Bombadil, shaking Frodo away from the barrel lights. Yep, barrel lights. Yep.
One time I was waking up my sister to go on a walk with us, and she jumped up just like Aragorn pulling a sword. And I was like, I'm just trying to wake you up. You asked me to wake you up. She was apparently fighting orcs in her dream.
In our final transmission for the hour, the topic turns to tactical mechanics. Dangle briefs the room on his card game development, leading to a debate on rule changes involving celebrity impressions. We conclude with a technical breakdown of the gear, gadgets, and notebooks, or lack thereof, to keep the creative war machine running.
I finally made a deck of cards to kind of represent it. Not complete. I'm probably going to need about more cards because of the kind of game it is. But I got my blue cards, which are the disputes. So like cats versus dogs, pick your side. How many ingredients are needed to make a salad? Is a hot dog a sandwich? Those are like the core cards of the game. Then I have my yellow bordered cards. It's kind of hard to see because I'm using a dry wet erase markers on some reusable blank playing cards, so it's kind of hard to tell. But that's a yellow bordered card. Let me find one that actually has text on it. I must shuffle through the entire deck just to find one.
I think I remember the salad question.
Yeah, something like that. I still have a lot of cards that are intentionally left blank so I can have other people help fill them out. This is like rule change. This is like the general format. I'll have like rule change and then the rule in like text right here. I tend to think in like boring systematic type ways. So like I was running into issues of like the action economy being rather slow, where you can only do one thing on your turn, and then this one I wanted to say, okay, now you can do two. And just slightly boost things as we go. But yeah, like all kinds of stuff. Did you guys have a rule change idea I can add to this?
What are some of your other rule change ideas so I can think about it?
Okay, so wait. Okay, so like, oh, cool. Give me a second. If I can adjust my camera here, I can kind of jerry rig I need a tripod. I need a proper tripod. My goodness. It is my sign language book and all kinds of stuff. All right. So say, no, there is not a good way to do this right now. Other rule change cards. This one is players may now perform 2 actions instead of 1. This one is you may now gain 2 of these. They're called influence tokens. You may gain 2 influence tokens per action. So rather than just getting 1 gold, we'll just say that for simplicity. Instead of gaining 1 gold, you're now able to gain 2 for 1 action. But then I want others that are just silly, that change, simple, easy mechanics. I might not even stay the whole game, but like for the next round. So like I could play this card out in front of me, and once I played it, once it comes back to me, it'll go away, kind of stuff.
You must present your argument on 1 foot.
What's that?
You must present your argument while hopping up and down on 1 foot.
Love it.
You must speak doing an impression of the voice of the person who played this. Of the choice. You must do an impression of a character or celebrity that the person who played this card chooses.
Ooh, okay. So
right. So if you played the card on me, you could tell me I have to talk like Clint Eastwood for the next round, or Big Bird, or something demeaning.
So, like, the person who plays this card
chooses what you're supposed to do an impression of.
So, okay, so the card can be referring to you directly. It can say, choose any person, real or imagined. All other players must make their argument while impersonating that.
Yeah.
Person.
So you have everyone talk like Gollum except for you for a whole, whatever.
Right.
Like...
Yes, I love it. Yes. Right, awesome. So choose a person. Yeah, person.
Person or character,
Person or character, yep. Character. Semicolon? Choose a person or character. And then it's like the next step of the instruction.
Everyone else, yeah, that's sure. You could do it that way. That's fine. Yeah.
Everyone else must impersonate. Oh goodness, this is getting long and towards the end. Start writing small. Impersonate them for 1 round. I'll just say 1 round means it's gone around the table back to that person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Abby, what was yours?
Hop up and down on 1 foot while presenting your argument.
Okay, yeah, awesome.
Sounds basic next to Joshua's.
All good. No,
I know it was a lot, but it's still like it's something people will remember. You know what I mean?
But imagine 2 players. One person plays that card, and the one says, "You'll have to talk like Gollum." So you're hopping up and down talking like Gollum.
Yeah. Yes.
Fun.
I love it. That camera is not wanting to focus on anything I'm doing over there, so I'm just gonna go back to normal over here. That's great. Did I kind of sort of explain to you guys how the bare bones of this game operates?
I think so.
Okay. So like, I need to set that card. It is still wet and needs to dry. So like, we'll all start with 3 cards and 3 hearts, and then 2 gold. You use gold to kind of weigh your vote and kind of influence others. You can even use it to bribe and all kinds of stuff throughout the game. I'll have to come up with more mechanical usages for it. On 1 foot while making. Sorry, I'm getting distracted.
Same.
Arguments. So like on your turn, you can do one of 3 things. It's going to be draw a card, play a card, or gain 1 gold. If you play a card, typically with the cards you're going to play, not all, but typically, the dispute card. Then when you play a dispute card, all other players will have an opportunity to say whether or not that they want to argue and they want to challenge you. And then once all your challengers have kind of put their token in the middle of the table or whatever, however we end up signifying that, you take your pick of the lot. So like say I play a dispute card and it's goodness, someone come up with something because I'm struggling to find a card. Say it is, of course, I find just blank after blank after blank after blank. Say it's this cats versus dogs. I put this one down, and let's say who wants to debate me about this? I'll say I think dogs are better than cats, and then someone.
Okay.
Then you, and then let's just, for sake of demonstration, say you and Alex say, I'll debate you. Then I would choose one of you two. I'm going to choose Joshua because Alex is scary in debates and I don't want to mess with that. So it gives me the agency to say, I'd rather not. Yeah. So then we debate, and just happenstance, I'm able to do enough politicking around the table to jerry-rig enough support for myself, and I managed to convince more people to vote for me. You're not left to just say one person gets 1 vote. Your vote is equal to how much gold you want to put towards your side. And
let me just make one point. That is, you've never had to debate me where the object was to win. It would be like choosing Ken Griffey Jr. over Barry, like choosing to pitch to Ken Griffey Jr. instead of Barry Bonds. If you decided to choose me instead of Alex.
Right. I guess, Aaron, are you waving goodbye? He might be. Yeah, no. Just examples. I'm scared to debate all of you. That's why I'm making a system where I could just hold enough gold to be
practice.
like, no, you lose. Right, yeah. No. I got you.
So I'm still not quite sure your question exactly. What are we trying to do here?
You know, to be completely honest, I kind of just started nerding out and I was like, look at this. I honestly, I just needed some more rules change ideas. That was the primary thing because, yeah, that was the main thing. Just like any of these cool rule change ideas or like a dispute card. Traps. Like I am just looking for recommendations on what to put down on these cards. And so like the traps, the idea would be like I have this card in my hand. You guys don't know what it is. And say if the trigger is if another player does this, then they lose one, like a point, or they lose, or they gain a strike.
Their
If
next
you gain
turn or whatever, right? Yeah.
something like that, they gain some kind of penalty. Okay. So like if and I struggle to make it playful because it's like I can make it functional really easy, but then
Yeah.
playful and fun and lighthearted.
What's the difference between a trap card and what we were already talking about with the other one that we were just doing, the one that we each suggested something?
These yellow ones?
Yeah, whatever you call them.
Okay. Those ones, these come out more on your turn. And they don't necessarily have a detrimental effect on someone else. They're not intentionally aggressive. Whereas the trap cards are triggered by an action or a behavior of someone at the table and cause a penalty to that player or some
Gotcha.
other.
So this is something that would be known to the table.
Yes, like it is. Once like the effect is triggered, you play it down on the table. Bye, Aaron.
Well, I'm saying like the effect would be known, or not the effect, but the trigger would be known to everybody, right?
Yeah, like once it's played,
so they'd be avoiding it.
Maybe. I was thinking like they don't know what card you have in play, and so like if someone like they don't know what to look out for necessarily.
Because this is a game that there's a game that is played at family tables. There's variations on the name. We called it the piggy game growing up. But basically it's just a game. Everybody kind of learns this over time. It's like a social game. At any meal, when everyone's sitting down for a meal, if you put your finger against your nose, everybody else has to put their finger against their nose, and the last one to do so, you basically everyone else gets to go. If it was you, Daniel, if you were the last one, Daniel's the piggy. Right? It's just this funny little thing, right? And so everybody kind of knows it, everybody remembers it, that it's a thing, but they don't necessarily think about it actively until someone starts doing it, right?
Ooh,
so
yes, okay. Yeah.
So basically, if you do these trap cards to be a thing where draw a trap card for the table, whatever, as one of the things that people get as a result of something else, you draw the trap card for the table. That trap card's there, and if you perform the action, then you're penalized for it and have to do XYZ for the rest of the game, or you lose something, right? So that's kind of what I was thinking. Was it's whenever they're drawn, everybody knows they can't do that. You can't use the word because,
right?
Something like that, right? Yeah.
I like that. My thinking is there are going to be maybe a couple different types of trap cards. So like whenever you perform the draw card action, just make sure you read what it says, because that trap might immediately come into play.
Yep.
Like right after you read it to the table, so everyone knows what it does. It might have a slapjack mechanic where you put it down on the table and everyone should know. Slap the card. Don't be the last person to do that. And then you'll get a strike. Get 3 strikes from either losing disputes, falling prey to a trap, or some other card effect or whatever. You are out of the game. Earn enough points from winning disputes and challenges, which are the other card type, the green ones, like a foot race. Pick an endpoint and an opponent. Run, and the winner may regain 1 heart. So, or like challenge a player to a game of chess, the winner earns 3 points, and you're trying to get, again, 10. Stuff like that. Anyway,
Yep.
I'm getting all distracted and nerding out about things. I need to just like finish making it and then invite people to play on the tabletop simulator with me and see how well it works.
That sounds fun. So,
Yeah.
Abby, what you been up to? Just the challenge thing and work? Anything else that's been on your mind creatively lately?
Not a lot. I ended up, I went to the art store yesterday, so that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Got some ink. Yeah, not a lot.
I gotcha.
Just trying to finish this tree here, but now I'm putting on like all the little teeny tiny branches.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Very nice.
Work's been pretty crazy. I had yesterday, instead of washing dishes, which is my normal, I took care of the front of the store instead. So I was waiting on tables and taking orders and stuff. That was fun.
Nice. I've outside of the creative writing stuff, which I told you some last time we were on about, well, maybe not last time, but about my wrestling story I've been working on. I haven't been able to do much because I'm trying to get this book in by the deadline. But outside of that, do you guys know what Stream Deck is?
I don't.
The Elgato Stream Deck?
No.
Basically, it is well, they sell them as standalone devices, but it's also an app on your iPad. But basically what it is it's a grid of buttons that you can program to do just about anything and change what they display like, etc. So I have it on my iPad. I'll show you real quick. I have it in front of me. Turn this around here. So this is my iPad, and I got my two screens here. You know, they're my normal monitors, and then I have this. And what this does is it allows me to, for example, we're in a Discord call right now. I can go, and it plays on Discord. Those are my Discord sounds, right? Whoops. So those are my Discord sounds. And then I have other things like things that can resize my windows. I can hit record for recording OBS, that sort of a thing. And so basically, like, with all those different sorts of things, I'm able to program all kinds of stuff. And so my goal is eventually to live stream these things. Obviously, we'll have, like, you know, a button that I can press to go to a scene where we're not on, so that if we need to talk about something that's sensitive, I can just, you know, whatever, will be off air and blah, blah, blah. But I want to be able to live stream these and have them as unlisted videos on demand, not things that people can find, but like if you want to be involved in the Brood recording, but you only want to just listen in, that's fine. You can do that. You know, other people might find us through the live streaming, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, basically what my goal is to get slightly different lights than the ones that I have currently, that, those will be, you know, I can use the Stream Deck to actually change those lights, and essentially press one or two, maybe a couple more buttons to be able to set up live stream across YouTube, Facebook, etc., all of the different streams, get them ready to go, and then just hit a button and like we're streaming, right? I don't have to do all the extra copying and pasting of passwords and other sorts of things. It's all like macroed out on my computer, every single little step, because I can do copy and paste things. I can do, you know, mouse and keyboard stuff that are like the same repetitive tasks. I can map them all to buttons and get these routines going, and I can even time them out. So if something needs to wait a second before you know, press the next button, I can tell it delay this many milliseconds. You know, so like there's crazy levels of engineering that I'm able to do with that, and it's just a lot of fun. It's been fun getting into it, and I'm also working on it for church, where I'm redoing our sound system, our sound and streaming system, so that the floops for Casey. Yep. But I'm working on getting our sound system to where we can change all of the audio stuff both on the stream and in the building, and in the monitors and all that other kind of stuff, and we can change the video scene, so like the camera shot, you know, when we're live streaming at church, all from one iPad. So it's been really fun kind of just engineering all of that lately. That's kind of my nerding out over this sort of a thing.
That sounds pretty fun.
That does. So we're able to control like all the tech in the church from your iPad.
All of the sound and the video, yeah. Yep, that's the goal. So everything's running through a computer, but I'm controlling the computer using the iPad, basically, right?
Very nice. So you could be like sitting in like your pew, taking care of everything,
or the choir loft where I'm singing. You know,
nice.
Yeah,
do a little more asking, just a little.
Currently, I'm running off 2 iPads and using up a bunch of extra money to have a monthly service fee to be able to stream using an iPad and multiple iPods, iPod touches, like, you know, with the camera and whatnot. And that's good, but I want to take it to another level, and I want to have real production stuff like OBS, which is what I use to record, you know, on my computer and whatnot. And there's just so much more openness to that. I'm able to use Android phones, which are cheaper, you know, for cameras on the network, that sort of a thing. But I have them wirelessly connecting. That's the other thing. Even currently, I have all my cameras are wirelessly connected. They're iPod touches, but, you know, they're like cell phones, basically. I could use iPhones, but this one only does Apple devices, whereas getting one of these for $200 is like a top-notch 4K camera that will go over the network. You know, and I just so that's really sweet. Yeah, that's just, it's going to be way more upgradable on top of everything else. And so I'm just excited about that. The hard part with that versus what I'm doing in my studio is we have about 14 inputs, which are, you know, things like mics or the keyboard our choir director uses, you know, things like that. Basically 14 inputs. We have about 5 outputs. And so when you multiply every single one of those paths in software, plus some master ones that essentially allow you to control basically all the places that, for example, Mark's, the pastor's lavalier mic goes to, all 5 of those outputs. You're looking at somewhere about, from one input to one output is one path. When you've got 14 times 5, that's how many? It's a lot. Whatever the math is on that. So
it's 70.
70? Yeah. So you got like 70 plus paths that you're dealing with, and all of those have to be mapped separately within Stream Deck and then arranged in such a way that it actually makes sense to the end user, the person using it on the other end. And I'm making it super simple so that anyone can use it. I'm actually going to do an extra simple mode where all you're going to have to do after you get it streaming is hit the choir loft button or the pulpit area button, and it will change camera based on and mics based on one button. So yeah. Yep.
That sounds a lot easier, I guess.
Yeah, basically, like, what are we focusing on here? The choir, which is over to the side, or the pastor, who is right down the middle, right? And so, yeah, basically there are 3 cameras usually. I'm going to have more in the future, but one's kind of close up on the choir loft, one's close up on the pastor, and then the other one kind of shows both in a kind of a wide shot. So in the future, I'd like to do like a further out one for the choir, a really tight one on the pastor, so you could actually like do a real close up and not just, that sort of a thing as need be. And then maybe a side medium shot where it's like you can see him like his full profile, but like closer in than a big wide shot from the side, right? So, but yeah, it's really fun mapping out AV stuff like that because it's an artistic production and people don't realize that. People who are artists are like, "Ooh, that's way too technical," and then people who are, the AV tech guys are like, they're more interested in the tech side of things, and I'm like, I want to make it pretty. You
want to set it up for me.
I want to make it pretty.
Oh.
And functional.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
That's cool.
On the nerding outside, I have these notebooks.
Mm-hmm. Big
This
notebook person.
Yeah, this is the Pizza Shop Chronicles series. It's 5 books, and I have to somehow make them coherent and republish the first 2. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment.
Yep.
And somewhere
I know how that goes.
Yeah, it's fun. I want to show you. I did a new picture for the cover.
Oh, nice. Love it.
Zoom in here. Oh, okay, that's much better. Oh, wow, that's great.
I really like that one. It's like watercolor pen and ink. Yeah. So that's about, I think that's it.
People always assume at Christmas time that I'm a notebook person. And so I have like a bunch of really nice notebooks and journals that I've never written in because I'm Mr. Dyslexia and writing, and I have big fat man hands that don't like to hold pens and pencils because they cramp up really easily. And so like for me, voice is better. I actually edit voice better too. I don't write everything in voice, but I prefer to do that when I can, or at least when I'm reading it back, I like listening to it, right? Like I can type. I like typing. I'm good at typing. I'm fast at typing, but I prefer as much voice as possible. And it's one of these things where people forget every year, and I end up getting another leather-bound journal type thing. And Casey takes some of them, and she enjoys, having some of them and whatnot. But I'm like, thanks every year.
Thanks.
I really like these. I have no use for them because it just doesn't work with the way I work. Oh boy, it is actually painful to use these.
I have so many notebooks, and oh goodness, they are vast majority turn into word salad. It is just word salad, the scrawlings of a madman, and then I'll like circle the bits and pieces that make sense and transpose it to another thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm reading through mine and I'm like, what does that say? And it's just a line, and a slash, or a line, and a dot. So I have to like read the whole sentence multiple times to figure out what that word is. And then some of it's in graphite, so it's smudged as well. So that's fun. I don't know if it's quite the same thing, but it's
I
still
actually
fun.
really like the idea of using them. Don't get me wrong. I actually really like. Yeah, go ahead.
No, because oh goodness, I don't know if I can find it easily, but I have a notebook I'd started using a few years ago, and I was reading through it recently, and I could just see like right around the midway point. I was probably I had just turned 23, and I was seeing all like this like really discombobulated emotional mumbo jumbo in the first half of it, and then I started going to the church I'm going to, and then I turned 23, and then everything kind of started leveling out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, whoa, I can actually see the progression of my thought process getting more and more coherent over time, which was really cool. But yeah,
That's a good thing.
Yeah, just everyone needs to just write. It is important.
The one of the other thing that I do that's kind of like notebooks that I do every now and then. There's an app on my iPad that is I don't know what they call it, but like a limitless canvas, right? So basically, like you can infinite canvas. You can it's a canvas, but you can zoom in and out infinitely, and like use two fingers and move around infinitely. So basically, like it draws vectors. So you can draw a circle and then write all your zoom in and write all your ideas in a circle, draw things, whatever else. And then like you have one little stick figure and you can zoom all the way into his mouth and have more stuff. And you can zoom in even further from there. You can zoom back out as far as you want, et cetera, et cetera. And so it just keeps the mathematical placement of those things relative to each other. So that's how it works, right? But it's just kind of cool being able to have essentially an infinite canvas to do whatever you want and connect any ideas. I do that occasionally, but I tend to think more linear than a lot of artist people. I tend to think very chronologically. That's just part of like how I deal with things. And so occasionally I'll be like, okay, I have all these. Sometimes I think like an animator. Like I have all these scene ideas and I've got to stitch them together somehow, right? But then other times I'll be thinking like beginning, middle, end, like literally, everything is in order. And that's just how it goes. It's just a matter of filling all of them out, all of these story beats out so that they're all interesting. So I'm good at creating skeletal structures. The thing that I've always struggled with is filling them in a way that's interesting. I've gotten a lot better at that, but I tend to not be able to think out of order more than the other, right? Like I can sometimes if it's a character thing, I can think of like I want this scene, and then come up with another couple cool ideas, and then I'm like, okay, now I got to arrange them. But that's the exception, not the rule, right? How do you guys generally work that way as far as like when you're outlining narrative?
You said you are more of a visual thinker, right? I'm sorry, I got distracted with
me.
Saw it was Alex's birthday.
That's okay.
Yeah, you were saying you were more of a visual thinker, right?
No, I was saying that I'm more of a chronological linear thinker. When it comes to outlining my stories and things, I tend to have more of a linear way of thinking. Beginning, middle, end, things are in order. Then like everything's abstract and out of order. And a lot of that just flows from a lot of that flows from character. So, for me, but how do you guys go about like the very initial stages? Are you a character first like me, and then you kind of have a basic path of where they're supposed to go and then it's just filling stuff in? Or do you have a completely different process? Are you very abstract and cerebral at the beginning? What usually happens? Not obviously it changes, based on whatever you're writing, but or it can change, I should say.
I can't think of a usual process.
Gotcha. So you think it's because you're still figuring it out, or just because you're completely in love with the abstract part of the process?
It's probably the abstract. I've drafted a lot of books, but they all like start differently in my head. Like this one, it started with the title from the dream, and then I came up with a character, and then I came up with the end, and I just kind of like worked to get there, like with like scenarios I wanted to happen along the way. I thought would be like, oh, this vibes and stuff. Another book was based off of a couple sequences from dreams. And then another one I did all kinds of plotting for. And like chapter outlines and stuff. So it really depends on the project, I guess.
Yeah. It definitely still depends on the project for me, but I almost can never come up with an idea that starts with something outside of character. Now, Ghost Trucker didn't begin that way. Ghost Trucker actually began with the sign melting scene. I don't remember if it was a dream or an idea, but the idea of the big green overhead highway road signs just like melting and bending, and like the poles like swing out at you because either there's a high wind, or what if it would be scarier if it wasn't a high wind, if it just started happening and you had no context for what was going on. And that became like the impetus for, well, like who could be going through that, you know, all sorts of other stuff. And then the big high concept, which I can't get into right now because it's a big puzzle box. The whole story's more of a puzzle box story. But with good characters. that's always my problem with puzzle box stories, is the characters take a backseat to the plot. but yeah, so J.J. Abrams style puzzle boxes and stuff, that just, yeah.
Yeah, I have a short story that I really like, that I came up with it because I wanted to use a violin for a weapon.
Nice. I have a story like
so
that.
So it's this character is actually.
What's funny about that is I don't think I am truly dyslexic or anything, but anytime I try to spell violin, I always have to mentally distinguish it from violence.
That's interesting.
Like, violence are always kind of like phonetically very similar to me. So there's some fun alliteration to be used there. Violence.
I saw a funny reel recently where these people got all these protest signs and were standing up in front of a music store, and they're saying, "No more violins. Town with violins." And they just started chanting it, and then the crowd's like, "Yeah, no more violins." And then one guy walks by and he goes, "No more harmonicas." It was just really funny and random.
Okay. Oh, man.
You too can be a part of the brood of writers and poets at war. Just visit joshuadavidling.com/discord to join. If you're a true poetry patriot, you can support us on Substack and Patreon, and get recordings of all our encouraging and strategic meetings, along with much more. Once again, all links can be found at joshuadavidling.com. Remember, troops, be your family's bar. Do not turn to the right or to the left, and the Lord will be with you wherever you go. We'll see you next time in the trenches on Poets at War. Over and out.
God of song said,